part of the plan. Right, guys?
Hello everyone and welcome to the 11th mission in my Halo Wars Legendary Walkthrough Guide. This is Cleansing. Now, there are multiple ways that you can do this mission. You can do this mission in roughly 8 minutes or less. But in this one, I kind of want to make sure that we get all the skulls. Not all the skulls, but there's only one. But we get the skull, we get the black box, I think we get the achievement as well. But basically the point of this video is to show that there's another way of doing it that will also get you a fairly reliable gold medal. In this mission, it really just depends on how effective you are with your units instead of time, because again, this can be done relatively quickly. You don't really have to take much time doing it. Anyways, so as you see here, we're sending all of our infantry units up to the middle platform. We are also training Hornets out of the airlock. We are going to be using a mixture of Hornets and Wolverines. Hornets and Wolverines are going to be your main attack force. The Wolverines are going to be there to counter the Sentinels, because the Sentinels will do so good against your Hornets. Anyways, the Wolverines are there to counter the Sentinels, and your Hornets are there to counter any other ground forces that the Wolverines are not necessarily equipped to take out. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that your Hornets are being built. You get Wingmen and also the Chaff Pods upgrade, or Chafe Pods, whatever the name of the upgrade is. Anyways, so once you get, I believe, roughly 8 Hornets, you're going to want to make sure that you just keep them defending the airlocks. If you lose your Cyclops or your Flamethrowers, it's not the end of the world. I personally would prefer if you did. I know it's not good to say to kill your units or to delete your units, but I mean, the more Hornets, the more Wolverines we have, the more successful we're going to be doing during this mission. Losing your Spartan or Forge, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you, but I would just recommend throwing down a heal and repair whenever you get the chance. Remember to try to use multiple airlocks for your units, because if you don't, it's just going to take you even longer to get up to that point where you basically have enough units, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But anyways, you're going to want to make sure that you clear out certain parts of the ship. You're not going to want to keep the entire ship you don't want to keep the entire ship covered still. You want to make sure that you're still doing stuff in the meantime, because half the time that we're waiting, we're actually, this first part, we're defeating the Flood. We're not going to kill all of them, but we are going to clear out our little area. That way we are safe. But what we want to do is also create a pathway that they have to get through our Hornets and our Wolverines for the Sentinels to do any other damage to the Flood. So we want to defend that aft part of the ship, that very, very back where you see all the cluster of buildings. Your Spartans and Forge should do well enough to defend. If they have any issues, I would highly recommend just microwaving them away. Target down anything that actually will do the most damage first. That Flood form that we killed, that looks like a pure form. That Flood pure form, you're going to want to take down. Later on, if you have the resources and the time, I would recommend throwing up some turrets on both sides. That way you can defend the airlocks from the Flood attacks, because that is one of the achievements for this mission. Now, it looks like I accidentally brought all my my forces up. It was just a small accident. Make sure you keep an eye on your micro. We are going to kind of split our Hornets up into 2 squads. There's going to be the one on the left, the one on the right. Just making sure that if you see the Flood buildings regenerating, you're going to want to make them dormant again until the ring passes by. The ring passing by will be very much needed. Like, this first part of the mission is going to be kind of difficult, I'm not going to lie, but the once the ring passes by and you get a good portion of the flood buildings off the ship, then this mission becomes immensely easier. And all you have to really worry about are the Sentinels and the Super Sentinels. And actually, of all the Sentinels that are going to be your major threat, it's going to be the Super Sentinel, naturally. I'm going to pull the Spartans back. Looks like Alice was still fine, but we want to make sure that these Spartans don't lose their shields because it's a consistent, non-stop attack. So, at roughly the 5.5 minute marker, you're going to get the dialogue between Serena and the AI, or otherwise the Forerunner cleansing ring. And they're going to start making the ring a problem. Anyways, once the ring passes by its initial time, after it passes through the entire ship one time, it's going to take about 2.5 minutes for it to come back again and clear out all the flood that you've destroyed, or the Sentinels destroy. So, as I said again, your main focus for this mission is fairly simple. Part 1, destroy as much flood as you feel you are comfortable destroying. You want to make sure that you're not spread too thin, and you want to make sure that you're able to split your forces between fighting the Sentinels and the flood. You do not want to be fighting both at the same time. You also do not want the Sentinels to destroy the flood buildings, so you're kind of playing... There's a delicate balance between being too aggressive with the flood and being too defensive against the flood, and there's a delicate balance between how aggressive you are versus Sentinels and how defensive you are. So you want to be kind of somewhere in the middle. You want to make sure that, and this is where the turrets will come into play in a few moments, and the Wolverines, because Wolverines are going to be exceptional against the Sentinels. You're going to want to make sure that you're always paying attention to where they are on the map. So, for an example, Forge here and those Spartans, once the ring passes by, they can pretty much survive it. You don't have to send them to the airlock. I think what they were trying to do is say, like, okay, hey guys, like your flamethrowers and stuff like that, you're going to want to make sure that they get into an airlock. Roughly when you destroy 25 Sentinels, that is when the AI will declare you a hostile player. Most of the time, the Sentinels will just ignore you in the earlier parts. But once you destroy a certain amount, that's when the Sentinels will start to attack you. Now, the Wolverines, what you're going to want to kind of do is until you have a certain amount, the goal with your Wolverines is to split them up into two groups. So on one side of the ship are like a few of your Wolverines, and on the other side, and in the middle are your Spartans and Forge. That way, when Forge and when the flood actually come up onto the ship, the Spartans and Forge will be able to clear that out, because the Wolverines are going to have a very difficult time doing that because they only have a grenade launcher for ground-to-ground combat. So anyways, moving on. As you see here, splitting up two Wolverines. Going to send two Wolverines over to the next side, and then we're going to keep Alice, Jerome, keeping our Spartans and Forge in the middle. In any case, there are times where sorry, I'm blanking. Anytime the Sentinels actually start to attack and really start to wreck Forge or any of your units, again, remember to micro back and keep an eye on everything. Your Hornets will want to hold the area that Forge and the Spartans were holding at the beginning of this mission, and until we have a certain basically once we are comfortable with how many Sentinels we killed, because you want to time this as well, there's a lot of timing, but once you get to roughly 80 to 90 Sentinels, I would start saying feel free, unless the cleansing beam is already doing its thing, whenever you get a chance to start going with your Hornets down both sides of the ship, making sure that all the flood buildings are dormant. That way you finish this mission in pretty good time. If you see one of your airlocks getting hit really, really hard, I would highly, highly, highly recommend throwing a heal and repair down on them. Your units are going to do super well against the unit comp in this mission. So don't think that you need to save heal and repair for your units. You're going to want to save them for your airlocks, because if you can't train any units, especially with what we're building, then this mission is essentially a total loss, and you're just going to have to restart. Anyways, moving on.
Local units.
So as you see here, we're just racking up those sentinel kills. It's happening fairly easily. I don't know what else to say about this mission, because you're just going to see me do the exact same thing over and over again until I hit that 100 sentinel marker. So when you see your when you see that ring pass by, make sure you have all your units pass through it in the opposite direction. Same thing with your hornets. All the units, you want to just send it through as fast as possible, and hopefully the pathing of it won't be awkward where your units take a lot of damage. Anyways, sending the hornets back over, seeing this flood are completely good for right now. I'm going to say maybe sometimes I would highly recommend throwing up a heal and repair on your guys. Another thing, and this is something that again, when you rewatch your own video, you see like stuff that you could have done. Seeing that the resource count that high, it shouldn't be that high. I could be building some turrets that would supplement the fire from the Wolverines and the Spartans. But yeah, this is all kind of stuff that you rewatch and say, okay, I mean, I should probably be building turrets, kind of thing. And as I say, lo and behold, some turrets are being thrown up, because I'm noticing that my force is getting a little too weak, and the turrets are only going to help us. I'm looking fairly good. 75 sentinels. The black box is on the aft side of the ship, next to the it's at like the back left wing of the ship, but I'll show you where it's at. As for the skull, it's kind of like, I think it's at the front right of the ship, where that flood spore tower was at the very beginning. And the achievement, of course, is the achievement. When you build your turrets, missile turrets are your best friend. They're gonna help you out a lot.
Local units. Turret improved.
Gonna make sure that the units are being healed up. Missile launchers again, just gonna be extremely helpful. Now, when you build these center turrets, you want to make sure that you do a little turret section at a time, and then do your next turret section. That way, you're not overwhelming yourself, and there's nothing defending you. You know.
Turret improved.
All right, waiting for that heal and repair again. Keeping an eye on the flood structures at the back. Yeah, this mission is going fairly well. Gonna drop down a carpet bomb, because there was just a bunch of flood there. And I mean, why not?
Turret complete. Turret complete.
Remember that the flood will also will touch down on your ship with drop pods. Most of the time, it's just infection forms. Sometimes they can have a combat form in there, but most of the time, you don't really worry about it, and it's all just combat. Sorry, not combat forms, but they are flood infection forms. So remember that when you are
Local units.
kind of dealing with the flood. But once the flood get to a certain amount of buildings, they aren't even a threat anymore. Like those 3 buildings, all we're doing is defending that, and then it makes it super easy for us, because all we have to do is like destroy those 3 buildings, wait for the ring to pass by, and then boom, we have a we have the mission complete. It's gonna be super easy. Now, I was wanting to try to get this mission done before, so I was chasing down any sentinels I could find. Checking it out, 98. It looks like we will be able to do it, 99. And there's that 100. So we're going to go grab our hornets, send them all the way to go grab the skull at the very back, at the very front of the ship. Sorry. And then all we're going to do is send, so you only need 1 hornet to go grab the skull. Don't send all of them. Send the rest of your hornets to go destroy the remaining flood. And also to go grab the black box, of course. Sugar cookie skull. looking fairly good. We got all of our airlocks still. That is awesome. Having a healing repair on standby just in case. As you can see here, the Sentinels really start to get more difficult as this mission drags on. So, yeah. But this mission is fairly simple. It's not a difficult mission by any means. It can be a little challenging at a certain point because the Sentinels do kind of overwhelm you at times. But overall, this mission is extremely easy. If you do not want to get the skull, the black box, or the achievement, as I said, you can finish this mission in 7 minutes. Just mass hornets and then go all around. I actually have a video that will walk you through that aspect of the strategy if you really, really want to do that. Anyways, once Forge says that the hull is clean, which is awesome. That means you completed the mission. And, yeah. Once, well, they give us vultures too, so, I mean, after like 15 minutes, they throw some vultures at you, which is really, really awesome because vultures are fun. But anyways, that's besides the point. But as you see here, 15:25, 5 minutes under par time, got a gold medal. I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you guys liked the video, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. And I'll see you guys next time for mission number 12. Thank you guys for watching.